Welcome to Fyter Fest Night 2, A Night to Remember. I'm using that title. Now I want to make this very clear. Was this the best show you could ever see in years? No, it isn't. But there were things on here that were memorable. Now the question is going to be, for the future, will these memorable things really help the company? I will hopefully elaborate if I don't forget. I tend to forget sometimes at the end of this review. I'm trying to remember everything, and particularly what's been going on. I hope I'll remember. Let's get to the first match. You got Private Party versus Kenny and Paige with Matt in the side of Private Party. Now, I'm really happy. This is something... Think about this, guys. When you talk about Impact Wrestling, when you talk about WWE, they don't always use older talent or well-established talent from other places to help younger talent that's in their own company. That's one of the major problems that's going on with both companies. No matter if you love Impact or if you love WWE, when they bring in someone heavily established, they don't always help younger talent that they've already heard about or they know about. They don't help them to get over. In this situation, Matt came in, he could be in a heavy storyline, and he could be the most greatest center of it, but he's working with Pride and Power. He's working with Private Party. And it's good to see Matt doing that. I wish they would do that more when it comes to the different companies. Now, it was a good match, but I didn't expect Cassidy and Quinn to win here. I'm sorry. If anybody expected it, if you really wanted them to win, come on. They're not ready. Look, they're still wearing a similar style they did when they were in House of Glory. Now, understand, I'm not against the style of House of Glory. I'm not against them still being party guys, party boys. But they could have changed up how they look like party boys. Having tails on Quinn and Cassie still looking the same way, it just looks like they came from, well, I'm not taking anything away from House of Glory, but they still look like House of Glory content. Well, House of Glory, from what I understand, is a good promotion, hopefully when they restart again, because they're still not active. But Quinn and Cassie still look like they're from House of Glory. And they went from House of Glory to AEW. They should have changed their style of clothes, not their theme. Remember, you can still look like party boys, just with a different style. Have that style for House of Glory. Have a new style for AEW. And I don't see that. There's no growth yet. Now, are they getting better in the ring? Of course, they are getting better in the ring. They're still young and they are learning. But without the change in character, I don't see anything. They don't got no girls by their side. They only got Matt. They should be improving their craft as party boys, changing their clothing up, having girls by their side, or something extra, maybe having a car come out with them if they can borrow a car. I just don't see it from... I'm not trying to bash them, but Private Party needs more, and they don't got it. I just don't see it. Next, Archer versus Joey Janela, and I really didn't want to see this match because it didn't really matter. Look, Joey Janela working with Sonny Kiss are tag specialists, supposedly. And Joey Janela, I'm botching his name because this was a stupid match. Because I still don't buy that Lance Archer is still a monster. Because he got his butt whooped by Cody. He did. He lost to Cody. And if anybody, I don't care what anyone says, saying that there's nothing wrong with Lance Archer, he's fine. No, he's not. No matter how many times people want to say that there's nothing happened to Lance Archer, losing to Cody was nothing wrong. Because this should have happened months down the line, not now. He came in within a few months. He goes into a signature position and then he has to job. And it's wrong. He should have waited 6 months before dealing with anything or anyone. But when it comes down to it, they did this because they needed content because of what's been going on. I don't agree with it. I understand why they did it, but I don't agree with it. And when you see Archer, yes, he looks like a beast, but still to me, he looks like a beast that got his butt whooped by Cody. And now what is he doing? He's dealing with Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss. He literally takes Sonny Kiss at the beginning of the match. Well, not even the beginning of the match. When Joey Janela was in the ring, he carrying Sonny Kiss on his back and throws him right at Joey. Why is Lance Archer dealing with Joey Janela and Sonny Kiss, who just came together as a tag team? Tell me, why should Joey Janela even be used in this situation? I'd rather see Lance Archer go up against Dustin again than see him deal with Joey Janela or Sonny Kiss. And it just, he looked weak. That's just me, you guys tell me below. I'm going to wait a little bit. Let's go to Tony, Taz, and Brian Cage in the ring. Now, this was an interesting situation. One of those night moments in the night. Well, I think the reason I'm botching here is I didn't expect the FTW title to be pulled out of the ass of a Taz. Now, some people are going to say, oh, this is just a cheap knockoff. No. When he was in ECW, he came up with this title because he had nothing more to do. So he decided to take an old TV title and turn it into the FTW title to make himself mean something. It ran with it and worked. He even defended it in WWE and it had traction. And WWE has never brought it back since the time of Taz. So seeing the FTW title now in AEW, it, even if it's only brief, in a sense, it's like a passing of the torch. And I'm not saying that it's a good thing or a bad thing right now. But seeing that the FTW, I know there's going to be people who say, oh, this is just bullcrap. You're giving this to Cage, so when Cage loses, he'll still have something. Yes, there's a possibility, but still, it could still mean something. It could still help Cage, even if it's brief. And seeing that it's a legacy of Taz, because you don't get a legacy of Taz in WWE, and you don't have really a major legacy of Taz in Impact Wrestling. But at least in AEW, now you have a legacy for Taz. And that means something. For me personally. Now, the 8-man tag. You got Bucks, FTR, Lucha Brothers, and, well, Butcher and the Blade. The only time when they ever win. Now, I'm just saying it right now. The heels win. But this match, I'm not a spot guy. I'm not. There was a huge amount of spots here. This was the second most spotty match of the entire show. And there was one spot that you're going to see in my face in a moment, but I got to describe it to you. You're talking about 8 guys working together, and people were wondering, will the Bucks and FTR work together, which they did. And yes, at the end, when there was miscommunication between the Bucks and FTR, that's how they lost, I understand. But when it came to this spot, when Pentagon Jr., and I believe it was Nick, who got the Canadian Destroyer, he was trying to grab Pentagon Jr. when he was hanging off the second turn rope. He was reaching over the top turn rope. He was not near the turnbuckles. He was in the middle of the rope. And you see Pentagon Jr. still kneeling on the floor. His brother Phoenix jumps on his back, grabs, and I do believe it was Nick, and he Canadian destroys his ass onto the other wrestlers. and you see that bitch in my face, fuck me. Fuck me. I'm not a spot guy. I'm not. But a Canadian destroyer on a good day, it can be dangerous. That's a flipping pile driver. That's what that is. That is a forward flipping pile driver. But seeing that done off the third ring rope onto at least, 5 guys at least, is the most dangerous piece of movement and spot you can do. If that went wrong, if it was Nick, I think it was Nick. I don't think it was Matt. I think it was Nick. He could have been driven straight into the pavement. Even with the padding there, he could have broke his freaking neck. And he could have stopped breathing there and then if it had gone bad. You see it in my face again. That could have gone seriously bad. They pulled it off. They were lucky motherfuckers. Sorry for the cursing. They were lucky. That's all I need to say. Big Swole got suspended because of Britt Baker. Britt Baker went to the brass and said that she has harassed her and harmed her and kidnapped her. So Big Swole pretty much said, well, I'll put it in this respect. She was served her suspension. She came over to where Rebel and the Britt Baker was with some guy in the face saying, get the hell out of my face and go and eat something more. I know you've been eating too much of your mama's cooking, you fat boy. I mean, she didn't say it like that, but she was kind of implying it. And she said she's going to get her and then throws the suspension in her face. And then she's acting like she just got shot in the eye. 6-man tag. Colt, Stu Grayson. Always forget about Stu Grayson. Always forget to pronounce his name when he's with Evil Uno. Andy Brody Lee versus FCU. SCU. I don't know why I said F. Fuck. I've had a very crazy day, guys. Oh, if anybody wants to know, yes, my ceiling has been fixed. Oh, finally. Just tired right now. But was this a good match? Yes, this is still continuing the story of the Colt Cabana dealing with the Dark Order. Now, Colt had a nasty bruise on his left side. And you see it in my face. And they say he can wrestle. And he is allowed to wrestle. And Brody assures him he's going to win. And he says, yes, Mr. Brody. Or yes, Mr. Lee. Pretty much once he gets up and he's told we're going to win, you're going to go out there and it's going to be fine. And what was going on in the match, I'm not having a problem seeing Christopher Daniels' job to Colt Cabana through Brody Lee. There's no problem with that. But the one thing I'm wondering about is how far they're going to go with this story. And will Colt Cabana do something more than just be a damn lackey? I'm wondering if he's going to change his character and become really dark and evil. That's what I think they need for him to be. This is just my point of view. You guys tell me below. Finally, closing of the show. If I'm forgetting something, I'm sorry. This to me was the best match of the night. And I'm not taking anything away from any of the matches. They were all pretty good. And I know I'm going to have to talk about it because I can't just leave it. Nia Rose versus 2 jobbers. King and, what was the name of them? It was King and it was Paige, I believe. That's the name of the 2 girls. One of them was 18 years old and she got her ass jacked by Nia Rose. I think the reason I don't want to talk about this is because I'd rather sit back and wait. Because it's obvious it looks like they're going to do something with Penelope Forbes. And it looks like they're teasing Penelope to work with a Nia Rose. I don't know. I'd rather sit back and wait because Nia talked well. But I'd rather wait and see if it is going to be Penelope Forbes before I give my full opinion on this. But I just had to say it because I don't want you to think I forgot because a lot of times I do forget stuff. Now, Orange Cassidy versus Y2J. The best match of the night for me personally. This is where this made Orange Cassidy. For me personally. I felt just like Darby Allin that Orange Cassidy is a unique individual. Darby Allin is the embodiment of Mick Foley for me. And Orange Cassidy, I don't really have an idea what he is. But he's a new individual. I like that. You could say this is the second coming of a Y2J, not the persona of a Y2J. I want to make this clear. I'm not saying Orange Cassidy is the persona of Y2J. Y2J at one time back in the mid-2000s finally faced a Shawn Michaels. He was inspired in real life by Shawn. He was, to become a wrestler. He loved wrestling. He saw Shawn. He loved him. He even said this in his own interview that he was inspired to a certain extent with Shawn. This, to me, is what Cassidy is. Whether he was inspired by Chris Jericho or not, he feels like, what was that line that Chris said to Shawn Michaels? He said, look, when I went into wrestling, I didn't want to be another Shawn Michaels. I wanted to be the first Chris Jericho. This is what Orange Cassidy is, freshly squeezed, to me. The first Orange Cassidy. Not a Chris Jericho wannabe like Joey Janela should be. Not like a Daniel Bryan. Not like a CM Punk. He is the first Orange Cassidy. A guy who acts like a freaking sloth, who doesn't give a damn, he's lazy, but when he gets pissed off enough, he shows his ability. And that's what we saw for this entire match. That's what made the match so good. It wasn't the fact that it was the flips or the kicks or any of it. It was the fact that we know Orange Cassidy doesn't do a damn thing. He doesn't. He's lazy. But now, seeing that he got his ear messed up, I don't think I got that shot of his ear with that little patch on it, the black patch. But he got his ear messed up. He got his friends hurt. He got embarrassed. He got his head jacked in. He wanted to get back at Chris, and you saw in the match that's what he did. Yes, he did lose. And Pride and Power PP comes out, and pretty much throughout the match they interfere with it. Then finally it was obvious that Best Friends was going to come out. It was obvious. It did happen. But in the end, Cassidy lost, which I'm not surprised. He's not supposed to win this. This is supposed to get him over. Doesn't mean he had to get over with a win. So this really made Orange Cassidy different. Special. Something we don't see often. This was a night to remember. Finally, I got the title right. And I gotta say this. I don't know if this is going to help the company going forward. This is a night to remember. Yes, the Fight for the Fallen is next week. And we will be seeing Cage versus the Mox there. But here was a very memorable show. Something that could help springboard a couple of people like an Orange Cassidy. Like when it came to FTR dealing now, they're going to be dealing with the Lucha Brothers next week. Pride and Power, I do believe, will eventually face Private Party again with Matt by their side. But I do believe for them to progress, they need to change up their style but still stay the same personas of Party Boys. They just need to change their style of clothing. They need to add something with their personas. This could be the beginning for a lot of people. Or it could be the same thing, or it could be a decline. I don't know, but this is what I feel. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace.